In today's Warhammer 40k podcast, I'm here with the second best Necron channel on YouTube, Mr. Planet 40k.
You've not just said that. You've not just said that.
And it's coming right up.
Necrons!
You caught me already. Brilliant. Love it.
I need to recover from that now.
Yeah, no, I'm blushing now. I wasn't nervous a minute ago. Now all of a sudden I'm like, ah. Oh.
I don't even know where that came from, but it was funny.
I feel like lambs to the slaughter now. You've got this prepared, and I'm just like waiting.
Nick speaking, and welcome to this podcast. Right, here we go. Necrons and Necrons. There's going to be a lot of Necron talk because we have Mr. Planet 40k here on the podcast. Hello, Mr. Planet. How are you doing?
Right. I'm all well. Glad to be here.
Excellent. Well, I can't wait for this chat because we're going to be talking, obviously, about Necrons quite a lot, I am sure. But we've got some questions lined up for you. 5 questions about your hobby, 5 questions about your channel, and then we're going to have a general chit-chat about 10th edition and the current state of play. Sound good?
Sure. Yeah, all good.
Excellent. Now, of course, Mr. Planet 40k that has a channel. It's linked in the description below. Make sure you check it out, especially if you love Necrons, because, of course, his channel is also, like mine, dedicated to Necrons, and he does some really, really awesome stuff. So definitely check it out. Okay, so hopefully I've recovered from calling him the second best channel.
The best.
Okay, here we go then. Are you ready? You're in the hot seat.
I'm in the hot seat. Let's go.
Okay, so we're going to start with hobby, so we can find out a little bit more about you. So How did you get into this awesome hobby of ours?
It was more as a teenager. I went to the town centre and me and a friend of mine were looking to buy I think it was like a PlayStation 1 or PlayStation 2 game at the time. And we saw the shop, Games Workshop, and thought they might sell PlayStation games. So we walked in, looked around, we went, we're not in the right place. There's models around and all these weird things. But the guy was like, do you want to have a little go? And I'm like, yeah, why not? So we had a go, and I walked out with a box set. Although it was what would you call it back then? It was like the fantasy game, not 40k, and it was like a Britannians versus lizard men or something. I don't know what you call them.
Yeah, lizard men, wasn't it?
Yeah, I brought that box, and my friend, because we didn't have a clue what we were doing, he went and brought some Ultramarines, and we thought they were the same sort of game, but obviously not. Yeah. So I eventually went into 40k. I said, you know what, your one looks a bit cooler. So yeah, went into 40k, I got some Space Marines as well, started off with Dark Angels, then got bored quite quickly, went into Ultramarines, got quite bored quite quickly. We bought a Gorkamorka set, so I had a bit of a dabble with Orcs. We didn't know the rules back then, we were still kids.
No. Yeah,
we were putting Orc war bosses in the same unit as captains in Terminator armor. It was just whatever we fancied doing. So yeah, that's how I got sort of introduced to the game, and from then on, yeah, loved it.
Okay, excellent. Have you played every edition since then?
No. I had a big chunk. So when I got to my mid-teens, it wasn't cool back then. I can't remember what year that would have been now. It wasn't cool, and being a teenager trying to, avoid confrontation or bullying. I mean, I wasn't bullied, but I was obviously trying to navigate through high school and stuff. I thought, I'm going to drop this because I might land myself in a bit of a situation. So I did drop it. I mean, nowadays I think it's a bit easier for kids to not do that, and I wish I did stick with it. But yeah, I left it, and it was only about sort of 13 years ago or so, maybe 14, 15 years ago, where I saw something on my Facebook homepage, and I was like, oh, Grey Knights, I remember these guys. And then I text my friend who I played with back in the old days, and I said, "Do you remember this stuff?" And he's like, "Yeah." I said, "Do you want to start again?" So yeah, we got back into it. So I missed. I think when we stopped playing, it was, I want to say like third or fourth edition, but I'm not. It's a bit phasey. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Got back into it in seventh. I think it was seventh. Yeah, that sounds about roughly right.
Yeah. It's hard to match up dates and times and editions.
It is, yeah.
And
It is. It was this big core rule book that had all the data sheets in the rule book, so you didn't have all these codexes and stuff. It was just all in one big book, which was quite easy to manage. But yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, obviously we know that you play Necrons, but do you own any other armies, and do you still have them? What have you played over the years?
I've played almost everything over the years, but at the moment I have got obviously my Necrons. I've got Tyranids, which I'm possibly getting rid of, which I just fell out of love with Tyranids, to be honest, since this codex. I fell out of love. And I've just started some Imperial Knights.
Right, okay.
So I've got those that I'm sort of slowly magnetising away. I've got Space Marines, which I'm also getting rid of. They're just more of a showpiece on the back cupboard. They don't really ever get out and play. And I had an impulse purchase of some Tau, which I've never played with. I bought about 500 quid worth of Tau, and yeah, I think it was because I came up against a Tau player, and I don't regularly play Tau, and I was like, oh, I really like the look of this. Like, you had these Kroot guys, Kroot spam, and then battle suits. I was like, the drones as well, they looked really cool. So when I brought a load of them, but then they got the codex, and drones become more of a piece of war gear now. They used to be like a model.
Yeah, that's right.
They had their own save, a bit like a plasma sight back then, and
Yeah.
now they don't, and it kind of took away the flavour for me, so they're probably going as well. Yeah,
it is
will be
quite amazing. Sorry, it is quite amazing how armies do change over the years. Like
Yeah.
the Tau, for example, jumps out at me like big style, because my gaming buddy I used to play with, he had Tau. But then when the Riptides and stuff all came out, it's like the whole army changed. You know, it was all about those little pariah tanks and stuff. And then when the Riptides came out, it's like the whole army just like changed. So it's like sometimes when you have an old army, it's very hard to play it like in the current like rules.
Yeah, current rules and just what's good and what's not as well. I suppose.
Well, yeah.
But yeah, that's what I've got at the minute. I mean, like I said, I've dabbled with almost everything. I've had Elder in the past. I've had Orcs in the past. Chaos, all types of Chaos. Pretty much every type of Space Marine. I think that's all of them. Yeah.
Okay.
That's all of them.
So, obviously, Necrons must be very close to your heart as one of your main armies.
Oh, yes.
Absolutely, yeah. So, obviously, I've noticed that you've painted your Necrons quite a few times. So, tell us a bit more about like your hobby. How much hobby time do you get, and how much time do you get to game?
Hobby-wise, I don't get a lot of time, and I don't enjoy painting. I'm not great at it. That's why I've gone through a lot of different paint schemes. I've just not been happy. At the moment, I'm going back to the old Silver Tide colours, but before that, I had the contrast white with Troll Slayer orange, and I liked it, but I didn't know how to finish it. I didn't know how to edge it, and so I abandoned it. But I just don't get time to paint and do stuff like that. But as for playing time, I used to get a game in sort of maybe every week, every couple of weeks, but lately not so much. Demon Prince Powie's moved about 40 minutes away now. So
right, okay.
Yeah, so it's not as straightforward. I'm sometimes down at the local gaming club where I'm in a doubles league at the minute, but that's not often. So yeah, at the moment I'm sort of struggling for games. Yeah, but painting, things will sit on my desk for months and months and not get touched. I just don't enjoy it. So hence why I'm going to the silver basic Necrons, because it's easy and you can't go wrong with it really.
No, yeah. So I do really like enjoy painting, But it is finding time. That's the hard piece, especially when you obviously have the YouTube channel as well. It's like, got a couple of hours to spare. Do I paint or do I make a video? Well, I probably need a video, so I better do that. So I tend to go in fits and starts. I think at the beginning of the year, I wanted to paint more because last year I didn't paint that much, or I felt I hadn't. I mean, it wasn't too bad, but so this year I've concentrated. Like the first half of the year was definitely a lot more painting, but recently I've been concentrating more on videos more than painting. So what I've got on my desk should have been done like a long time ago, but it's still being done. So you have to pick and choose, don't you?
Do you enjoy the painting side of it?
I do, yeah, I love it. Yeah, I think there's nothing better than just like painting for a few hours. You just like totally zone out, and it's like really relaxing. And
never had that. Never had that feeling.
I always considered myself like a fairly artistic person. I mean, I'm not an artistic person to the point of I'm really good at art. I just enjoy creating things, you know. Yeah. So, how about one of your best wargaming stories, or at least an interesting story? I know you're looking forward to this question, aren't you?
No, I'm not. I gave you the heads up. I don't really have. There's not really much interesting stories that are interesting. I mean, your tournaments are obviously interesting, but I can't find like a pinpoint an exact story. I mean, we said it in our Facebook chat. Like playing against Voldemort is a big deal for me. That was I've played him twice, in fact. So
tell us about that then.
What year was it? It was 3 years ago? Was it 2 years ago when I first played him? It might have been 2 years ago, 2 tournaments ago, whatever that was.
So it wasn't connected to the channel then? It was like just a random thing, was it?
No. Both of them are on your tournaments. Both of them are at your Dominion War.
Oh, okay, at the Dominion War, yeah.
Yeah. So it was when you had it as a singles competition.
Yeah.
I played him. That was my first ever time there. He had Blood Angels, and I had obviously my Necrons, and we had a pretty decent game. I had the Nightbringer, which he was really afraid of, but then he absolutely battered it with what's that Blood Angels character called now?
Mephiston?
Yeah, that's the one. Because back then you could do like the psychic phase and 3 wounds per phase, but he psychic attacked it or smite, shot it, meleeed it, and dead. Yeah. So he loved that, killing that thing. And then the year after that, we were into the doubles, the first time we did doubles. And it was my second game, and I think we drew. It was like a ridiculous score, like 80 or 90 each, and we drew. It was a mad score. And yeah, he's just a cool guy, isn't he? He's just very straight as.
Yeah.
He's just a cool, straightforward guy, which I really like that. So yeah, interesting. I mean, he's a big YouTuber, isn't he? He's huge. So
he's massive,
he's massive. But yeah, I don't know how interesting as a story that is, but that's.
I think, to be fair, I think you'll be the envy of a lot of people. You know, having that opportunity to play Voldemort.
That's true. That's true.
And to see him in person, because if he doesn't like to show his face on video, I suppose this is probably quite a good time just to say that I do currently have Mr. Voldemort planned for next week's podcast. So if all goes to plan, you'll see him here next week, or at least you will see his logo over his face.
Yeah, I was going to say, you won't see him.
So that should be fun. But anyway, back to you.
To me.
So obviously, you talked about your knights as your new army. Mm-hmm. The question is, do you have any plans for a new army? Which I assume your knights are basically it.
The knights are basically it, and that's thanks to Jack at Warhammer podcast, because I teamed with Jack in your latest tournament.
You did, yeah.
And sort of fell in love with knights a little bit. So I was asking him for a few tips, and yeah, when how many have I got now? I've got 3 big knights, and I've magnetized 2 baby knights, and I'm ready to go. Yeah, that's sort of my side projects, but I don't even get on with my normal projects, to be honest. But it will eventually get done.
I think that's a good thing about knights, isn't it? You don't need many models, so it's like
that's what attracted me, and it's kind of how he sold it to me. It's like, if you want a side army that you don't have to think too much about, you just sort of you've got 5 or 6 models. You stand, you shoot, or you charge, and there's not a lot of tactics to it. And that's no disrespect to Imperial Knight players, because I'm sure there is a bit more, of a compact tactic to it. But for me, as a second army where I can sit back and chill, it's easy to just get out the cupboard and play. That's kind of what I wanted.
Yeah. It's like me. I must admit, I've been really thinking about getting one of my other armies out to have a go with. I was looking at some of my Eldar model conversions the other day, and it's like, that's really cool. I want to play that. And then I think, right, how am I going to do it? Well, first of all, I've got to obviously get the rule book, because I don't have the current codex. So then it's like, then you've got to learn all the rules. And then I'm thinking, the last time I played Eldar, you had all those fate dice and stuff.
Yeah,
I'm thinking, do I really want to do all that? So it is hard.
It's a big tie in your head, isn't it? It ties you down to. Whereas Imperial Knights, you don't have all that. It's just bang, there you go, Canis Rex, and it's easy peasy.
Yeah, I think it's not so bad. Maybe if you're playing smaller games. So if I was just playing 1,000-point games, it's probably a bit more manageable. There is obviously Combat Patrol as an option. However, I don't have the Combat Patrol models because GW makes sure that none of the old sort of model range are in those Combat Patrol boxes. So yeah, it is a tough one.
I'm surprised you haven't done any Knights, because you like the big models. You've got a lot of big models, haven't you?
I do. I have thought about it. But I'll be totally honest, it's space is my issue.
Okay.
Yeah, so my Tyranid army is currently at Richard's house. I've got a lot of old terrain around my old gaming buddy with the Blood Angels that I used to play like most weeks. So my old gaming board, all of my Cities of Death buildings, some of my big Necron tombs, they're all around his house in his loft.
Okay.
Because I'm just limited on space here, so yeah. So that's another thing, isn't it? Space, really. Especially if I want to continue to expand the Necrons, and there's still stuff I want to get from my Necrons.
Is there? What do you need? Surely you've got everything by now.
I've got everything in the Codex, but not necessarily 3 of everything. This the ultimate army, isn't it? 3 of everything. That covers
you. Watch the next edition. It'll be like you can have 4 of everything, and then we'll be buying everything again.
This is it. It's like I'm thinking, right, I've got 1 Psychomancer at the moment. Now I know that Psychomancers one day, 11th, 12th, 13th edition, whatever it is, one day they're going to get good, and I'm going to want 3.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, while everybody's getting rid of them or not buying them, get them cheap.
Yeah, you're right there.
Yeah.
I remember when reanimators were going on eBay for next to nothing, and then now you don't get them for next to nothing, and it was like, damn, why didn't I buy a load of them and invest in them and then resell them?
This is it, and you do notice it. I've noticed it myself. A rule like changes and makes a unit worse or bad. All of a sudden, they're all on eBay.
Yeah.
Okay, well, it's great talking about your hobby. Really enjoyed that. We're now going to talk about your YouTube channel, Planet 40K. Now, I think the first question is, I know at one point you split your channel, didn't you, into like Planet 40K Necrons and Tyranids. What happened there? Is that still a thing?
I will be going back to that. It was near fatal when I merged everything together at the start of the year. I was convinced by quite a lot of comments in the comments. You should merge it all. You've got the foundations there. Merge it all. You get the views into one channel, and it made sense at the time. But it absolutely battered the algorithm. Obviously, if you're a Tyrannid player and you see a Necron's thumbnail, you're just going to skim past it. And for those of you who know algorithm, that's hurting your click-through rate. So my channel absolutely plummeted, and it was at the time where we just had a Necrons Codex, and it was Christmas as well, which are the 2 biggest boosts to a Necrons channel, I suppose. So it was quite disheartening to see that, and I know exactly why as well. So I will be reverting to that, going back to that. I'm just sort of trying to re-establish the Necrons channel, and which has been picking up quite a lot recently. And in fact, I've sort of got to thank you as well as the other 2 Orc guys we played doubles with. When was that? A month ago or so?
A couple of months ago, wasn't it? No, it must have been.
Dread Wargaming and Six Festiva, because you
Yeah.
guys were all saying you need to be doing shorts. You need to be doing shorts, and I didn't really touch shorts. I did about a year ago with some lore stuff, but I was just sort of trialing it.
Dabbling, yeah.
But I've been doing a lot of shorts lately, like 2 a day, 3 a day, and it's making a huge difference. Huge difference. So yeah, thank you, Nick, I suppose. But
No trouble.
help
Damn
with
it!
I knew I shouldn't have told him.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is huge. And they sort of told us at the start of when shorts came out, and I was sort of put off because I saw the revenue. You don't earn on shorts, do you, really? You don't earn anything. And it put me off. I was like, why would I put all my time into that and earn next to nothing? So I ignored it. And it was only when you guys said it that it sort of opened my eyes a little bit. But going back to your question, yeah, I will next year. I'll be going back into the Tyranids channel, although I don't play Tyranids, but I can still, theory hammer it, I suppose. It won't feel as strong, my logic and tactics, I suppose, but I will be redoing it, and hopefully I can sort of go back to my idea of having an umbrella of different factions and have them separated with separate communities, which was the original plan.
I went along that route at one point in terms of my thought process, because I was playing like Eldar and Tyranid stuff, and you're right, when you're doing that, you get a core amount of people that will watch all your videos regardless, but it's not enough to satisfy the algorithm effectively, is it? So I did consider it. Yeah, I did consider it, but the long and short is I just really didn't have time. You just gone out of focus, mate.
Oh, am I back?
Yeah, that's it.
Sorry.
Yeah, I just didn't really have time. So when I saw you spacing the channel, I must admit I was concerned for you, because I thought that's going to be a lot of hard work.
When I split?
When you split it, yeah. And I mean, fair play to you. You were pumping out a lot of videos on all the channels at the time. Yeah. So fair play to that. I don't think I would be able to do that now. I'd like to. My idea was to have like Eldar. Originally, it was going to be like IDICBeer 40k Necrons, Eldar, Tyranids. Yeah. But in the end, I settled for like continuing the channel mainly as Necrons. Sorry, you've gone out of focus again.
I'm not sure what's going on. I don't know why.
There you go.
It looks all okay.
Yeah, that's it. That's all right now.
Okay, I'll try and sit a bit.
Yeah, that's fine. But yeah, so in the end, I just settled for Necrons and more. So, if I want to throw in a few extra videos about different armies, I can. I accept that it's going to probably not do my channel that great, but sometimes, unless you're like growing a channel to become a full-time YouTuber, I think you just have to accept, Yeah. It's got to do what's fun for you, really.
I still have my Space Marine channel, but I think that will be getting abandoned. Space Marines is such a big... It's too big to... Like, if you do a unit review, let's say you're doing Intercessors, there's so many different chapters and ways of playing Space Marines to, make a video. It's very difficult, because Blood Angels play completely different to, say, Dark Angels, and so on. So you have to, either go down the avenue of talking about all the chapters at once in one video, which is quite difficult, all the stratagems and all the detachments, that's hard work, or you've got to pick a lane. I was going to pick, what are they called, the green ones now? I can't remember what they're called. Yeah, Salamanders, because that's what I was doing, Salamander. I was going to go down that avenue, but I thought, you know what, it's not working, so I did leave Space Marines behind, and yeah, the rest is history, I suppose.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, so I've got a question for you. What inspired you to do YouTube?
It's not so much a what, it's a who. I've got a couple of people that one person I used to watch goes under the name of Aceface. It was a Tyranid channel back then. It used to do these advanced Tyranid tactics. I don't think he does the channel anymore. And it sort of inspired me. I was like, I could do this. And it's no disrespect to him. He did a great job. I was thinking I could do this. I can make a real good job of it. So he was one of the main inspirations to getting on board. But also Allspecs Tactics. He was sort of my goal. That sounds stupid because he's mega now, but back then when I was first starting, I remember him being on like 6k, and me and my friend who started the channel were like, we can do that, we can do better than him. I mean, we can't do better than him because he's amazing, but we were like, yeah, we'll do that. So we sort of were doing Allspecs Tactics style with Marines and Necrons and Death Guard, I think we were doing, and all sorts. But the idea was to be a bit more advanced with it, like Ace Face was, and talking about tactics and things like that. So a bit of sort of both worlds coming into fun. So I would say they are my two inspirations for starting the channel. Now, unfortunately, my friend couldn't keep up with the schedule. So after about a few months, he was like, yeah, you know what, I'm not feeling this. So he just left, and it was just me. But yeah, those are the two inspirations.
Interesting. Obviously, I've actually had the pleasure of playing Ace Face several times, and I actually went to a tournament with him and stuff. But I learned a valuable lesson from Ace Face, and that is when you're gaming with someone, never trust them.
Trust them.
We were playing a game. I was playing Tyranids actually, I think, and he was playing Tau, and he had one of these flyers. I'm not sure exactly what it is. Bearing in mind that this is like before I played anyone competitively, you know, I didn't really know what I was doing, I asked him a question about this unit. It's like, oh, if I go over there, like, you think I could, like, you know, do you reckon I'd be able to kill it, sort of thing? And go, yeah, I think so. So I moved over there, and he goes, oh no, you can't touch it because I'm in the air.
Oh
so,
no. Oh no. One of them.
It was all done in good. It was all done in good humour, you know. Don't get me wrong. So I love Ace Face. He's such a great guy, and it's a shame he's not around anymore. But I also like really enjoyed his channel, and he was also very generous. I met him the first time I met him was at Salute, and he came up to me and he had this bag of Tyranid bits because I was doing some conversions at the time. And he gave me this bag of Tyranid bits, so it was really, really cool. So yeah, we love you, Ace Face. So come back to YouTube.
Well, I could have been playing him a few tournaments ago, couldn't I? When he was meant to go to your Dominion War.
Yes, yeah.
And I was really looking forward to it. I was like, oh my god, Ace Face is going to be there. Oh my god. Even though you had like Voldemort and all this stuff, I was more like Ace Face. And then he, for whatever reason, he wasn't there, and I was like, damn it, he's not here today. Fine. I'll see him one day, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think we sort of discussed this, like, how is your channel doing at the moment? I think you're in this position that I'm in, actually, where the first half of the year was pretty poor.
Very poor.
And then, to be fair, since the Dominion War tournament, I don't know whether that tournament gave me inspiration or just a general... I'm not quite sure, but I've definitely put a lot more effort into the channel. And I have noticed, the channel's getting green arrows up rather than grey arrows down, which is always nice.
I think a lot of people in your tournament were inspired from the tournament. But like I said, it was our doubles match that really did work, really did inspire me to do something. And green arrows up it's such a great motivation, isn't it? When you see the green arrows, you just want to chase it further and further.
Yeah,
so
that's right.
That's where we're at the minute,
Yeah, excellent. Well, that's good to hear. So what do you enjoy the most about your channel?
Oh, about the channel? I don't know how to answer that. Do you mean like what kind of videos I like to create?
It'd be anything. What would you say about your YouTube channel is like your favourite thing? Is it, I don't know, looking at the stats? Is it making the videos, the editing? Could be anything, really.
I like editing. I'm okay with editing. I like recording. I like when I've got my creative hat on, coming up with new ideas. I do quite like doing unit reviews, but you can only do so much with unit reviews, and you can't keep doing the same ones over and over. But at the moment, I'm going through a series. I'm probably going to break into another one of your questions now, but I'm doing a series about important questions for X unit. Yeah. So I'll get like 8 or 9 questions, and what's the best weapon options, what's the best detachment, and just sort of ask myself the question, or sometimes I get the viewers to comment questions in.
With those questions, yeah.
And I'll shout them out and, answer the question from my point of view, which isn't always the correct point of view or the most competitive, but it's just the way I use them or play them. I come at it from sort of a semi-competitive angle. I don't go to tournaments and go, into the GTs and stuff, but at the same time, I don't play this sort of narrative game. I do try to win. I'm probably quite similar to you, competitive, but not ultra sweat.
No,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. I think you're probably a bit more of a Math Hammer guy than I am, aren't you, really, I would say.
Yeah, Math Hammer, definitely. I'd agree with that, yeah.
What is your goal for the channel?
To surpass IDICBeer, Necrons and more.
To become number one.
We're number one. I don't really know the goal. I mean, when you first start up a YouTube channel, you think, I'm going to be a big multi-millionaire YouTuber. That's not really going to happen when you're doing a niche of a niche of a niche. Obviously, we're not going to get that kind of subscriber level. So it's more of a side hobby or side hustle, I was going to say. But I don't know if that was the right phrase. But goal-wise, I don't really know. I've not got a goal in terms of subscriber count. I've not got a goal in terms of views. I'm just putting stuff out there. And it's because it's such a huge hobby that it doesn't feel like work. So I'm just sort of going with the flow. I don't really mind where I go or how far it goes. I'm happy either way. So yeah.
Okay. So let's just say you had a video and exploded, and overnight you got to 150,000 subscribers. Would you consider trying to go full time with the channel, or would you still just keep it as you are at the moment?
Good question. I would, after one video, no, because it will just be a lucky video. But I don't know, 150k subs.
Let's say you got into that position. I mean, I can answer this myself because I do have a goal on YouTube, and I think it's good to have goals, realistic or not goals. But I would absolutely love to get a silver play button, so 100,000 subscribers.
100,000.
Yeah, it's possible. I could do it, but it's like a bar which I can reach potentially. It's not like I want to get to 1 million subscribers, which I know you'd never get to. But even if I got to that range, and even if I financially could, because of the channel, retire and do it full time, I don't think I would want to. So I don't think I would enjoy it as much.
I think you'd enjoy it more if you've got a bit of a crew. Like your previous video, you had Necron on. He's got a crew of people, and it's
sorry, mate, you've gone out of focus again. There you go.
Is it this face here? It might be this. Is it trying to get that?
It sometimes just goes off.
Let's wear it backwards. We've deleted Planet.
You look like you're going to rob a bank now.
Take it off. That's probably even worse. I look like a thug. Go on. No, be alright. What was I saying now? I forgot where I was now.
You're talking about being a full-time YouTuber.
Yeah, Necron, who you had on in your previous video, he's got a crew of people behind him, and they're constantly playing mini tournaments with each other, and it's their day in, day out. It's their workplace, and that's where I wish I was. I wish I had a crew of people, and locally, that were involved in the channel. It's sort of similar with Warhammer podcast as well, Jack and Dan. Even though there's only two of them, I think they'll do really well, by the way. So shout out.
I do. Absolutely.
I think they're great guys, and they're gonna go.
Yeah,
but
I agree.
Because there's two of them, it's a lot more fun. You can have a lot more banter, bounce off of each other. Whereas when it's like how we have it, one person to the camera, it's potentially a bit more serious, and we're more serious, aren't we? When you compare us to someone like 6+ Stevo.
Yeah,
he's very chill. He can have a laugh with himself, literally. Whereas we're a little bit more.
I did notice, in the battle reports, when it was on you and I, the camera, we were standing there with our arms crossed, like this.
It's like, come on, guys, this is boring. I'm like, I don't know what to do. You know what we're like. Yeah, he's got that vibe about him. Another cool guy, really. But I wish I had that kind of crew to enjoy it, and then I would consider going full time if I had 150,000 subs and a crew with me. Yeah, I definitely would.
Yeah. Okay, it's interesting. Yeah. So last question on your channel: do you have any exciting video ideas coming up that I can steal?
I can steal. I've got a video called "Why Planet 40K is Better Than IDICBeer." Steal that one. No. At the moment, I'm sort of making a list of video plans, but that's sort of for us. So it's actually, you don't need to steal it because we are potentially going to be collabing in the future. So I'll be making a bit of a list of what we can do as videos. So I won't sort of put spoilers out on that. At the moment, I'm just sort of doing my important questions, and then I'll go back to the bit more random tactics, and it just sort of comes on the fly. So there's not really a really good idea in the back pocket. That's not really there at the moment.
No. Okay. Are you going to be doing your Christmas specials that you do sometimes?
Oh, that only came to me this morning. I normally do. I didn't plan on it this year, but because I've got my little group on the Discord, little council group that we discuss rules and stuff away from everyone, and I said to the guys, any ideas for Christmas? And one of them came up, well, a few of them had a few ideas, but one of them came up with an idea that I may go for, which is, should I be giving you this information actually?
No, do it. I won't say nothing to anyone.
Well, I think, without giving you the context, I think I'll be not doing videos, but I'll be doing shorts. So an Advent shorts kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I've got a few different ideas of what kind of shorts, but that's as far as I'll go for now. So I don't know if I will do it or not. But yeah.
Okay.
It will be shorts. It won't be full videos. I'm not doing the giveaway this year. That was quite a headache last year, to be honest. It was a huge headache. I had too many prizes, and I just kind of want to break from it for this year, and maybe next year I'll bring it back. But at the moment, it's not in the plans.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I've struggled with giveaways recently whenever I've done them as well. So people not claiming the prize and stuff, and it's
had a few of those.
Yeah.
And also you get a lot of scammers as well, and it's really frustrating because people are just innocently clicking links that I haven't put in there, or calling telephone numbers that it will say it'll have my logo and my name, but it have a dot at the end, and it's not me. And they'll be like, call this number to claim your prize, you've won, and then they're getting scammed.
Yeah. So I think I think I've almost given up on doing giveaways because it just seems to be a lot of issues. I think the only way to maybe do it is do it in a live stream. I've done that before. Because then you've got somebody who's there in the stream, and you can grab them straight away and say, send me an email, and then you've got their email, and it's all done and dusted in one go. So I might do that. So obviously I've got my milestone, which hopefully at some point I'm going to hit to 30,000 subscribers, which is going to be probably the next time I do something. Yeah.
I do have things I would want to do, which I don't know how to do. For example, things for charity, doing adventurous things for charity. I don't know how I'd go about doing it, and I don't actually know if there's laws and things.
There are laws, yeah.
Yes, I haven't really investigated enough, but I would, for example, jumping out of a plane with without a parachute, obviously, with a parachute. Yeah. Things like that for charity, I think would be cool. I don't think they'd get views, but if it's for charity, it's fine. Like I said, I don't know how I'd go about doing it.
I have always wanted to do one of these 24-hour charity live streams. I think that would be good fun. But yeah, I'll have to wait till the missus goes away to be able to do that.
You stay awake for 24 hours?
Yeah, you're live for 24 hours.
And you're awake? You could do that, yeah?
Yeah. no trouble.
I can't stay awake for like more than 5. To be honest with you. I'd be done. Not a chance. Not a chance.
Excellent. Well, it's great finding out about your channel. Thanks for that. So shall we have a little chat about 10th edition and the current state of gaming?
Yeah.
So I've got a list of questions here. Let me pick and choose a few to have a quick chat about. So yeah, remind us what editions you've actually played, and what would you say is your favourites out of all the editions that you played?
So I think it was 4th, but I can't be sure. And then I think I rejoined at 7th. Or was it 8th? What was the edition that had all the common rules? No, that doesn't make sense. There was
Universal Special Rules.
Universal Special Rules. That's exactly what.
Well, they were in definitely. I think they were in 4th.
What at 7th?
7th. Potentially.
They weren't in 8th, were they?
No. I think they were before, like 5th, 4th, like 4th, 5th edition.
When I returned, I think it must have been 7th then, because there was the Universal Rules and they got a bit messed up.
Right.
Sorry, I forgot the question now.
What's your favourite edition?
Favourite edition? I quite like when I was a child, again, I think it's 4th, when you had like armour facings, like for the vehicles, and you had the roll to glance or roll to penetrate. I don't know it's 4th, isn't it? I'm sure it's 4th. And the glance, you could like remove weapons from like a vehicle.
That's right. Yeah,
so
that's why my Doom Scythes and Night Scythes have magnetised weapons. Because when you got the weapon destroyed result, you could just take one off.
Take it off, yeah.
Yeah.
But you had like loads of results like immobilized, so you can still shoot, but you can't move the vehicle for the rest of the game. I thought that was such a cool element. Destroyed and weapon lost, and stunned was another one. You can't do anything for a turn. So I quite like that. And you could put independent characters within any unit, any character, any unit. But because I was not playing the rules correctly, I can't be sure if it was a better rule set or not. It just felt like a better rule set.
Yeah.
But as for nowadays, I think 10th edition is okay, to be honest. I think it's good. I know it might be a bit boring, but that's probably because they've balanced it, if that makes any sense. So they've done an okay job compared to 9th and 8th. They've done a really good job.
I think so, absolutely. I mean, obviously, I'm coming from both points of view on 10th edition side, but there's no doubt at all in my mind that 10th edition is probably the best GW we've ever done. Definitely, in terms of balancing, there's no more like Alpha Strike. There's no like turns like the Psychic Phase. I know a lot of people like the Psychic Phase being there, but certainly as a Necron player, having to like go through the Psychic Phase and then having to go through the shooting phase was just horrible.
It was long, yeah.
So it's a fantastic system. They've definitely done really, really well. The stratagems all seem about right. There's not too many, but there's enough. However, I do also feel that the flavour and the fun of the game sometimes has just gone a little bit away for it to be as that balanced.
Do you know what they could do? And that they won't, but you know how we've got 5 detachments? I think they could have done a better job and given us like 10 detachments just for flavour. I don't know how you would do it with the lore and all that, but they needed to think of something, because you've got 5 and some of them stink, so you really got 3, and you're just playing the same detachments over and over depending on the meta and the units. And 1 minute the Canoptic Court are good, and then the Hypercrypt's good, and then the Awaken's good. And if you had more variety, you would probably bring that flavour back in your friendly games at home. If you're playing against Richard with his Orcs and you're playing a bit more of a chilled out game, you'd bring out a certain type of list, like you brought against in the doubles. You brought an all vehicles list. That could be some sort of detachment maybe, where you get a bonus for having all the vehicles. And I think they could have done a bit more with that rather than giving us just 5.
Yeah. I mean, as you say, I think it's like 100% focused on match play let's get this game as even as possible. Which, to be fair, for many years I've been wanting that.
Yeah.
It's like, because there's very often you've been playing this game and it just feels unfair. It just doesn't feel right. I remember playing against orcs. I can't remember which edition, maybe 5th edition, and you could do the wound allocation. Thraka could join knobs. So they had like these 2 wounds, and every time you took a wound, it went onto a different model, so the unit never died. There's lots of things that have been wrong in the past, which is definitely all, fairly well corrected now. Sorry, mate, you're out of focus again.
It's this Sony camera. I've not really worked out how to use the camera that well. I just press record.
So I can't even remember what we're talking about. How about that?
We're talking about the balance. I mean, the balance is good. The only thing I don't like is like the amount of different places to get your PDFs and your updates. That's a bit annoying. You've got like your balance update, your codex update, your rules commentary update, your points update. And one of those updates is like I think it's like 35 pages now, and you've got to read through it and sort of be a lawyer and go, what does that mean? How does that relate to Necrons? What's the domino effect it has on the rest of the codex and the rest of the game? And you shouldn't have to do all that, especially if you're like a newer player. You're like, what the hell is this? 35 pages of changes that mostly will relate to my army. That's something I don't like, but I get it. There's people going into tournaments and abusing rules, and they've got to make changes and stamp that out.
And one thing that we experienced when we played our game was the pivot rule, right? It's like, how many times did we have to look up? Is this model affected by the pivot rule? I have no idea. Yeah. We had to look it up like 3-4 times, didn't we?
Well, I think that was because of people were like deep striking in. Let's say you deep strike something that's quite a long, maybe like a Doomsday Ark kind of size, but then they were pivoting on the charge, so it wasn't actually 9 inches. By the time they end their charge, they just pivot, and then it's only like a 6-inch charge, so they've effectively cheated. But rules as written before, you could just pivot anytime, anywhere, so that's why they put the pivot system in.
Oh, but of course they did change it as well, though, didn't they? Put it in, then they changed it.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, they made a lot of quick changes. I mean, even the cards, the Pariah Nexus deck, they gave us an FAQ and some changes before it actually was released, which was bonkers to me.
Yeah.
It's absolutely bonkers.
So obviously you keep up to date with the rules as much as possible.
Try to, yeah.
How often do you go onto the Warhammer community, like, to see what the new posts are?
I don't really. It's normally, again, referring to my Discord council guys, it's normally one of them that have gone, something's come out, and then I go, ooh, have a look. So they normally give me a quick heads up, or you'll see Auspex Tactics has put something out with his instantaneous videos that he does.
Yeah.
But he's rapid.
I was quite lucky with the last one because it came out.
You were good on that.
Yeah, it came out on my day off.
Yeah,
so
I went on, I was like, let's see if Auspex has done it. And I was like, Nick's done it. How's he? What's going on here?
Yeah, usually quite unusual. I usually have a look at the end of the day if there's anything gone up. But like you say, because, if there is a Necron thing, usually someone pings me, or I'm on Facebook quite a lot. So I would see it in like the Necrons Facebook group, for example, and then go from there. Yeah. If I'm around and I have the opportunity to make a video, or I think it's worth making a video, I will. I'd love to make a video like every time something Necron comes out, but sometimes you're at work, or you're out that night, or whatever, and you just can't. So So how long do you think an edition should last? Obviously we're currently on a 3-year cycle-ish at the moment.
It's difficult. I mean, I think 3 years is okay, but the problem I have with it is if you're one of the last factions to get your codex, you don't really get to play much of the edition with your codex, and if you're an army like that, that kind of sucks, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
It's not really fair. And which one was it? I remember, I think it was between 8th and 9th, and it was when I was doing Chaos, or was it 7th and 8th? I always get them mixed up, as you know. But I was playing Chaos, and it was the first time Chaos had a book in years. It was like, oh my god, they've got a book. So I bought the book, and then not long after, they brought out this expansion book, the Vigilus Ablaze, I think it was called, and it had some new units in, some new rules, but it didn't have everything, so you had to use both books. But then not long after that, we had the new indexes, so it completely all got thrown out. I think I'm saying that in the right order. I might get that the wrong way around, but it's something along those lines.
Yeah.
I'm just like, now I'm on a third book, and then they brought out another Chaos book because that was one of the first codexes to come out. So now I was on another book. And I was just like, how many books am I going to have in the space of about 6 months? This is annoying. So I just got rid of it all in sort of a temper. I just got rid of it all. But if you're like at the end of an edition, I think they need to somehow find a way of not necessarily bringing every faction's book out at the same time, but maybe like 6, throw them out, see how it goes, rather than doing 1s and 2s every few months or whatever it is, because it doesn't feel right.
No.
But you can't make it longer. You can't go for 5 years because you may as well change the edition by then. So I don't know. It's tough, isn't it? It's tough.
It is. It definitely is hard, especially obviously from their point of view as well. Of course, they do that just so they have regular sales like coming in.
They got sell stuff, yeah. They got sell stuff. They're selling models. They're selling books more than models, really. But I understand their point of view. But they need to be a bit more. I don't know. I mean, Necrons 2 editions in a row have had an early release, haven't we?
We have, yes.
I mean, the first one was
Leviathan, wasn't it? Yeah.
And we had the book, but there was still the codex creep back then, so it felt bad because every codex that came out, it was like Death Guard. Now Death Guard are good, and it was Eldari are good, and we just fell down the pecking order. But now it's not like that anymore, thankfully.
Yeah.
But we still have the advantage of having an early release.
Yeah. I mean, that's right. I mean, obviously, I enjoyed playing the Awakened Dynasty from a certain point of view when we were with the Index. However, it was a strong one. But however, I felt it didn't fit my playstyle so much, and I wasn't taking full advantage of it. You know, I was only playing like maybe 1 character or 2 characters. So I wasn't taking full advantage of it, which is fine for a little while. But imagine having Awakened Dynasty as the only option for like a couple of years, you know, which is what some army codices have.
My regular gaming partner, Demon Prince Powie, he's playing Chaos Demons and they've not got anything. He's just got the same detachment. You just know what he's going to do. And he's going to bring his big monsters because it's the only way to really play them. And it's very predictable, it's kind of boring. Yeah. But what can he do? He's not got any choices with detachment, so it sucks.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. So it is a hard one. I suppose the ultimate thing is for them to take much longer in between editions. And when the new edition comes out, everything's ready to go. And it's like one massive release. But there's no way they can then like continue to have weekly, releases and sales. So there's no real answer probably. There's no real answer.
They'd get a massive amount of profit for that opening release because every different faction's buying all the books and all the models. And it could, in fact, give them a boost. Maybe the shops will start getting full again. Do you remember in the old days when you go to a GW and they're packed? They were full of people. And now it's like a library. It's just dead. So maybe they need to work on bringing that vibe back as well. I know that's going a bit off topic now, but it was such a cool atmosphere to go into a GW back then, 20 odd years ago, 25 years ago. It just, there was no room in the shop. It was so busy. Not anymore.
I haven't really got any relevant questions, I think, for us to talk about. So let's have a talk about Necrons a bit, shall we?
Yes, why not?
Yeah. So obviously we've had some recent updates, points changes, and then some nice keyword changes.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on the changes? Have you changed your army lists and stuff now? Playing anything different?
I don't. I do have a main list, but I don't get to use it that often because I experiment virtually every game for reasons for like the channel tactics and sort of getting it correct. So I don't tend to play my main list, but the Obeisance Phalanx was the main one that got boosted, didn't it? It got a definite bonus with the Silent King, with the Trite keyword, which does help. It does help. I tend to not use the Silent King that often because I play demons and they will just absolutely slaughter him. So don't tend to do it. But yeah, the Silent King's good. We had some points decreases with the Praetorians, which is... It was a big decrease, but I still don't think there's enough for me to select them. I think they need like a Feel No Pain or something, because they're just not enough. It's not there for me. The Trike Stalkers were interesting though. I think they're okay. So as a whole, the Obeisance Phalanx is better, but I still don't think it gets into like our top 3 detachments. I think it's a long way to go to get to the Hypercrypt.
Yeah, that's right. I agree. Obviously, I've been starting. We've been playing the Obeisance Phalanx a little bit before, obviously, the updates. So the updates have sort of come for it at a good time. And I was hoping to do a whole series of videos on like how to make it work before the updates, but that's all changed now. I am going to make some videos on it, but I do feel obliged now to put. Excuse me. Excuse me.
Yeah, right. Frog in your throat.
Yeah. I do feel obliged now to put the Silent King in my list. He wasn't in my list before, but now I feel like I should have him in my list. You know, it's like I almost feel like, because of the like moaning about him not being able to take advantage of the detachment, that I've got to have him in the list. And obviously I've seen quite a few people post lists as well with the new detachment abilities, and I'm not feeling it quite as much as I was. I think I enjoyed it more when people weren't playing it. Now that everyone is, it's like, everyone's doing what I'm doing now. yeah.
That's how I felt at the start of the Codex with the Hypercrypt Legion. Everyone was Canoptic Court, and I was like, Hypercrypt Legion's the one. The movement is insane. Like for secondaries, you can play it as fixed, but not many people were doing that either. And slowly, the Canoptic Court sort of got pushed aside, and the Hypercrypt Legion is the one, isn't it? It's good. It is good. But no, the Obeisance Phalanx. My last game, I played against my boy. He's only 8, and he plays Orcs, so it's not a proper full-on competitive game. And I brought the Silent King. I thought, let's give him a little run. He actually did really well. He was like, I think he killed is it called a Morkanaut? Yeah, the big. Is it called a Morkanaut? The big thing.
Yeah, your old son's got one of them.
No, we procced it. We used the monolith and proxied it. He's not good at it. But he was. I can see his face sort of dropping, like, because I killed it quite easily. And I thought, oh no, that's not what I want to do. So I started playing really like poorly on purpose, and purpose. So the Silent King couldn't do much more because it would be too much. But yeah, he actually did quite well, and I was like, oh, having that tryout keyword does make a bit of a difference. That +1 to the room roll with the damage 6 beams. It's quite nice. It's quite nice.
I've got a game tomorrow with Richard. I'm playing the flanks, so I'm looking forward to that. Should be good fun. Not quite sure what he's going to play, but I'm sure it'll be a nasty Orc list. Orcs obviously got quite a few points reductions, didn't they? So
they did.
Yeah. He's. I know that Orcs generally have been in not a great place. I think they were quite low, weren't they, in terms of the rankings, in terms of percentages.
I don't look too much at that, but I'm just going to take...
I believe they were down to like 40, 45 or around that.
Okay.
But Richard had always been doing very well with them. So I'm slightly worried, because with all these points changes, I think it's going to have something really nasty there. Yeah, but I'm looking forward to it. Be good fun. Yeah.
Yeah, the points decreases for Chaos Demons, what I always come up against. Theirs was odd. Beasts of Nurgle, those you know about Beasts of Nurgle? If you don't kill them in that phase, they basically get all their wounds back, and they've got like Deep Strike and It's a bit like Hypercrypt as well with their detachment and stratagem. So it's really hard to kill them, and they got cheaper. They went down to like 60 points or something. It's like toughness 9. It's about 9. I don't know how many wounds, 6, 7, 8, 9 wounds or something. And it's just like, pain in the ass. How have they got cheaper? A few other the really good units got cheaper as well. And I was just like, are they not looking at this correctly? How have they got cheaper? It doesn't make sense. That's what it is.
Yeah. Well, GW have their own reasons for doing what they do, which no doubt is connected to selling models.
Yeah.
But we'll leave it there. It's been really awesome talking to you. Thanks so much for coming on to the show. Hopefully you enjoyed it.
Yes, it's been great. Yeah, seeing you again.
Excellent. I look forward to our new collab series that we've got coming up. That's going to be a lot of fun, and of course it's going to be about Necron. So make sure you subscribe to both Planet 40K's channel and my channel, because the videos will be split between our channels.
Yes.
In the meantime, here is a playlist where you can watch the other podcasts at your leisure. Didn't know what else to say. Okay, I'm beamed up.
You beamed up.
That's an awkward end, wasn't it?
Just got it out there. It'll be all right.
Yeah, just about.